Hello, welcome back to another Models by Me video. This time we'll be unboxing the Revell's 1/72 scale Lancaster B3 Special, known specifically as the dambuster, if the box art wasn't clear enough. So what we'll do in the usual fashion, we'll have a look at the outside of the box, then the contents, we'll have a look at the instructions, followed by the sprues. So a little bit on the Lancaster itself. So it first flew in 1940, according to the source I've got. I think that is accurate for the Manchester Lancaster variant. But those that aren't aware, it originally did start life being called the Manchester. There was some subtle differences, mostly just the wings and the tail frame. The tail, like the actual rudders themselves, they were a different shape, and that sometimes there was actually a third one in the middle. But the main difference was it only had two engines. The Napier Vulture, I think it was the Vulture engine. These things caused so many problems that half the time, like squadrons were literally could only put up half their planes or something. They were notoriously bad. So the designer of the Manchester, Roy Chadwick, went back away, put 4 engines on the plane, and swapped them out from the Rolls-Royce Vulture engines, and put the infamous Merlin engine in its place. Again, cementing its legacy with the RAF, that thing. Specifically with the dambuster one, as it's the anniversary this year of Operation Chastise, we'll be having a look at this kit. So we'll try and look at the front. We'll try and have a look at the outside of the box. As you can kind of tell, it doesn't quite fit on the camera. We'll do our best. Now they said outside of the box. So, we've got a nice lovely artwork of the Lancaster itself. You can see the 2 lights that they used to try and get the altitude required to drop the bouncing bomb, because if it was too high, it shattered, and if it was too low, it bounced back up and hit the plane. So they had to get it just right. Problem was, you had these 2 big ass spotlights shining down on the water, and it gave sorry, shaky cam. It gave the Germans massive clues of where these aircraft were hiding. The one thing I would point out is, here's the dam. That bit makes sense. You got another Lancaster in the background. If the dam's behind you, who the heck's he shooting at? Now, they did do this. Guy Gibson, which I think this is his plane in particular, with the G hiding just there. When the other members of his flight flew to drop their bombs, he flew alongside them to try and draw the fire away, and in turn also had the front machine gunner try and fire and again distract the German machine gunners, anti-aircraft gunners. But they've dropped the bomb. He's flying past it. In fact, there's a bouncing bomb there. I just spotted that bit. What's he shooting at? I can predict what he's shooting at, but right, so let's have a look at the left side of this box. So we've got the 72nd scale, the size of the plane, nearly 30 centimeters long, and then 43. I'm rounding these up, 43 centimeters wide. So he's a big plane, and that's about it, really. Right, down the side here, some of the various colours you need: black, yellow, sea green. I'm guessing the sea green is for the bomb itself, maybe? Unless they're referring to it as interior grey-green. Interesting. Dark green, dark earth, naturally, and steel. Again, kind of natural. And some of the stuff here that it comes with. Bounce bomb, surface details, recessed power lines. Ooh, there's a feature on this one. Instrument panel, side panels, navigator and radio, 2 rotating machine guns. Yeah, you can pause it for the rest. There's it alludes there. It has a Merlin engine in it. So you can actually have this display them on the ground, getting outfitted, and the engine's worked on. You can see the front part of the Lanky there. Yes, I often short the Lancaster down to Lanky. The bouncing bomb itself and the chain mechanism to wind it up. What's weathering just there? And the carriage. This side, so you've got the front box art again. Avro Lancaster dambuster, 72nd. And skill level 5, which apparently just means it's got loads of pieces in it, which is a big bomber, it's kind of natural. Some detail on the history of the Lancaster itself. In its Operation Chastise, 16th and 17th of May in 43. So they'll put it 70 years old. And there's it in a couple more languages. Made in Europe. I think Germany specifically. All the additional pieces of information there. Kit suitable for ages 10 to adult. So if you pass adult, you can't make it anymore. And this side, I like this. So they got the 2 different ends, so you can either display it this way or this way on the shelf. But yeah, same again. And the underside, Revell advertising their other stuff they make, including a Lancaster. The regular one this time. So what have we got? Helicopter NH-90, the infamous F-22 Raptor, Typhoon, glider. If you fancy something non-military, you can make a glider. And a fairy gannet. Am I the only one that thinks that's an ugly aircraft? I find it ugly. Beauties to the... I can't think of the phrase. There's a phrase there. All the painted glues that Revell make. Advertising again, they make all this stuff. You find many other true to the original scale models, as well as an extensive accessory and airbrush range in the Revell catalogue. Ooh, does this come with a catalogue? Spoilers, it does not. Oh, here it is. Skill level 5 for pieces, difficult models with over 150 parts. No, you can have loads of parts, you can have over 300 and it'll still be absolutely piss easy to make. But, okay, this is how Revell do it, unlike Airfix, where well, it depends on the various kits, whether they're skill level 1 or 2. Such as, here we go, I've got a couple right here next to me. So we got a simple monoplane, the boomerang, at skill level 1, but a biplane, because you've got to have the awkwardness of putting an extra wing on top, skill level 2. There will be videos on these 2 coming out at some point. Right, so that's the outside of the box, all nice and done. Contents. This is going to be interesting. Oh, especially as I've got it this way round. So, what's going to come out first? Mystery. Oh, we have safety advice and the decals, which we will look at in a minute. Hopefully, what's coming out next? There's a big bag. It's the airplane. All sealed up in the bag. and tape down. Don't think there's anything else particularly holding the kit in there other than taped over flap. So it looks like some of these sprues are, yeah, looking at this one in particular, on top, that's actually separately bagged, which would be good because that's got loads of pieces on it, all in black plastic. Yay. What's the next thing to come out of the box? There's not a lot left in it. They have instructions, and that's it. Right, let's have a look at the instructions. So, A3 printed paper, which are unusual for Revell. They've actually stapled these together, and what you normally find is they just put all these, slot all the papers together, and which then inevitably fall to pieces. So that's actually quite nice for a change. So, good bit of history on the Lancaster itself. And both German and English. Whoops. Let's open them up. All the usual safety stuff. Just useful tips. All the different icons. And let's have a look at the main instructions themselves. So start off with, for those that are not used to Revell's way of doing things with the paints, they give you a letter. So if you just have a look at the cockpit section there, you've got all these letters in little flags. Basically, it's asking you to refer back to these instructions. So for L, for example, is a form of dark grey, and it'd be number 9 in Revell's own colour guide. Got a nice sprue map here. Some of these bits are blacked out. Basically, you don't need to use them for the dambuster variant. Right, instructions themselves. So, as seen earlier, we're going to start with the cockpit section, instrument panel. Then we'll put the seat in. 2 different variants of seat, so need to find out which one is actually accurate. Not quite sure where there's 2 there. Next, you've got to put both the cockpit in, plus the navigator and radio operator in. And then said radio, put that on as well. Step 5, the bomb bay. Not this thing normally carried bombs, but you know what I mean. It carried a big bouncing bomb, not the regular ones. The main wing spar goes through the middle. Next, got to do all the windows down the side. Use PVA to hold them in place. And then glue everything in together. So put the cockpit into the 2 sides of the fuselage and also the tail spar as well. That's quite rare. You don't tend to see that one hiding there. Glue the 2 tails together, the 2 wing bits together, and then put all the wings and tail bits on. Next, the engine. 2 lots of Merlins. Put the exhaust on, a bit on, and then the frame to basically put the engine on it. You do all that, and then you bounce to the wheels. So the wheel bay, just got all the extra bits in. And then after you've done all that, you then jump back to the engine. I would assume that's to let these bits dry, but I would probably say recommend paint. Make the engine up, paint the engine. Make this, well, no, not make. Paint this separately. Make it, and while the glue is still a little bit wet, then put the engine in. Speaking of the engine, if you want to display this engine on your model, so it's usually got to take the like maintenance crew working on it. You cut this bit out, and you can see the side of the engine. Next, put the other side of the nacelle on, and if you want spinny propeller, so Revell's done this in another way round. So instead of having a pin that goes through like the propeller or this bit, so like a plate you put the propeller onto the front of, you got the plug that goes into the the spinny bit. Let that dry first, and then glue it into the nacelle. But just be careful not to glue around. Put any glue around here, which will mix in with the propeller. Glue the nacelle on, then put the air intake on. Don't actually know what those two are. Oil coolers, maybe? Be radiator, not an air intake, but. And then the exhaust cover, so got to paint up the engine first before putting it in, especially the exhausts. So that's the inner ones all done. Got to do the outer one now. Same again, glue the nacelles together, this extra bit, sorry. Propeller bit. Same again, the two, I'm going to call them the oil coolers. Exhausts, as there's no engine in this one, so you have to glue the exhausts through. Radiator intake, and then the exhaust covers. There you go, and then glue the outer nacelle engines in. Landing gear time. I love it says you've got to wait. But yep, you got landing gear. So the main struts and then support arms. Then down here, tweezers required for this bit because you can see why. So once that's glued in place, they're glued in place, you then got to put this support arm between here and down here. So these little bits with the V in it up here, and the bits, the thicker parts, go into the base. And then while you're at it, glue the wheel together and snap it in place. But landing gear down, this is all naturally if you want the landing gear down. Unlike some variants, it will tell you to actually jump to landing gear up. Landing gear down, no. Cut the covers in half, and then glue them either side. There's little supporting arms in place. Yep, we've seen that bit. Right, dambuster variant did not have an upper machine gun, so you got a little cover there to blanket off. Next, this is what I was referring to by no bomb bay, because you've got this extra piece that slots right into here. That can't be solid plastic. That's a bit of moulding, but that looks almost solid by the instructions. Completely covers all the bomb bay up, so don't worry if you don't like painting that, because you won't see it. Speaking of the bomb, yeah, the infamous mountain bomb, there he is. And two halves of the drum, glue the sides on, and then glue, I suppose it's a cylinder, you wouldn't necessarily worry about it, but then, yep, glue the chain on the other side, and glue it all together with the support arms. Next, I'm guessing that's one of the lights, and just a little cover on the underside. Tail wheel, glue it together, clip it in, and then glue it in place so it starts all the way through and into the spar there. I'm going to ask in the comment section now, if you've actually made this, is that easy enough to do? Or is it worth, before you glue the two sides of the fuselage together, do the tail wheel then? Because you can make sure it slots in there, you can just put it in the little groove that will inevitably be hiding there, and then glue the fuselage together. Then from the tail of the airplane to the front of the airplane. I would probably... actually, you probably don't need to wait for that. The bomb aimer's window, and I guess that's more bomb aimer stuff. Underneath, glue that in. There'll be the clear plastic, so use PVA again for that. Front machine gun, to put the 2 machine guns in place. Slot the front half of the glass over. And then the rear cover. Sorry, it's slightly off screen there. And then just slot it in. You slot it in because it's held in place with this piece. So recommend painting all this bit first, and then when you glue that on, well, paint the inside of that first, and then glue them on. The side windows. I mean, there's aftermarket. I have open windows on this thing. Glue the windows in, and then glue the canopy on, and the back off the canopy. I'm pretty certain I've made an Airfix kit before, where I have made an Airfix kit version before, and I swear that is just one piece. Why is this a 2-piece kit? Anyway, couple of upper windows. Windows again provided clear for the squared numbers. Finally, rear machine gun. Don't know quite where my words are going now. So this rear machine gun. So this one you actually glue into the clear plastic first, and then onto the base plate, then the back cover with the infamous tiny doors. So yeah, if you had to bail out of these things, your parachute was hiding back here because there was not the space there, so you have to open the doors, climb out, get your parachute on, climb back in, close the doors, or lean as far forward as possible, turn the toe all the way around, and then jump out. On the plus side, you are at the back of the plane. You ain't gonna hit anything. Here's another interesting bit. Are you gonna need these 2 bits or these 2 bits? It'd be nice to know which one's which. Yeah, some research just to figure out what on earth those bits are. Anyway, propellers. Glue them on with the spinners on the front. Well, it looks strange. You can even pose it with the spinners off. That's interesting. This rear bit, I think something like aerial radio related, but I could be entirely wrong. If you do know, let me know, please, in the comments. Counterweights on the tail surfaces, the rudders. The control bits to operate the ailerons, and in turn those are the ailerons. That's the tail flaps. Put the glass into the wings. Landing lights, peat-hole tube, and then just for the extra bit of realism, the aerial lead, or the aerial wire. I've noticed Revell do tell you to put it on now. Some of the old original kits, they didn't. I don't think they ever said that bit, but they do nowadays. Again, if you're a new person, wait until later to do that. Wait till after doing the painting. Well, speaking of the painting, I believe we've only got the one paint guide, which, considering I'm pretty certain all the British bombers had just the one camouflage scheme. Well, it basically gives you the options. So we got, let's say, ABC, black, dark earth, dark green. But what it is, it gives you the option. So you got AG, which is 617 Squadron's code, the British Roundel, and then G, P, or F, depending on who was flying. So if it was G, it was Guy Gibson, F, KW Brown, and if it was P, HB Martin. Quite a few little decals scattered about. Definitely seen some of these with a lot more on, but not too bad otherwise. Just to point out something again here. So you kindly told us, yep, AGP relates to Martin's plane, so you put the P's on for him. I would assume, though I could be wrong, there's the serial number for Guy Gibson's, that serial number will relate to Martin's, and that serial number will relate to Brown's. But there's nothing really to confirm that other than that's in line with that. So, yeah, thanks Revell. So, quite a comprehensive little kit. I say little, this thing's 30 centimetres by nearly half a metre. Right. Alright, let's have a look at the sprues. So we've got a couple of loose sprues, and the rest of them are all bagged up. So I just had fun trying to unbag them. So we'll have a look at the fuselage first. So it's not too bad, the panel lines. They're fairly... they're deep enough, so shouldn't be able to completely fill them in with paint. Assuming you're using a paintbrush, not an airbrush. Detail's not too bad actually on the outside. Got some of the rivet holes or rivets just there, you can see at the front. Yeah, let's have a look. Let's have a look at the inside. I've just said it. So we got all the all the framework on the inside is quite nice. Around the front where the cockpit would be, so makes sense. That's where most of the glass is, or the clear plastic. And you're not going to see anything down the back here, and potentially not going to see anything here, which is a bit odd. Okay, you've got the rear turret here, but the rear wing spar went through here, and I say you don't normally see that, and that's because you're not going to see it with the rear turret in place. Bit of an odd choice. So, but yeah, quite nice. They're not too raised. Oh, you got a couple of the radio bits just here as well. Just make them out. Radio navigation bits. I think that might be the radio operator's bit just there. You ain't going to focus, are you? There we go. And this would be the pilot's. Yeah, this would be the pilot side, so there's some instruments there as well. Okay, enough of the actual fuselage, let's have a look at the rest of it. So, landing gear struts, not too bad. The exhaust doesn't look too bad. Sorry, its shine is bright off this thing. It's a firewall. Some of the air intakes, or the radiators. They're quite nice. Just about make up the detail there. And there's the exhaust covers. Spinners, the engine nacelles, which aren't too bad either. Same as the fuselage. It got some. You can just about make out some of the rivets on the side there, but not too bad. This will be an inner nacelle, so that we should be able to cut out the inside. And yeah, you can see where you should cut out there. And yeah, you can see the other line just up there. And then you cut down here and down the front. Looks a little fiddly, to be honest. I don't know if anybody's actually done that before. Is it as fiddly as it appears, or actually is it easy? Okay, and let's flip him over, or flip him back. So bottom corner just there, I just registered, is one of the engines. So it doesn't look too bad. Some more of the engine bits just there. Let's have a look at the bouncing bomb, what this thing was famous for. And I know initially it did have a wooden dough. It was a wooden sphere, but just to help it bounce. But they've discovered that the wood just would smash apart on impact. So in the end, they just kept the metal cylinder. Wheels are not too bad, but they are not weighted, and you would definitely expect weighted wheels with a big bomber. So unfortunately, I had a little down pointer there. That is going to be one of the landing gear covers. Yep. Oh, the flap. Yeah, the covers that go here. Spinners. Yeah, the spinners. Unlike the antennae things, it's not too bad. I'm guessing that's some form of navigation. Yep. If you know what that is, please let me know. One of the wheelbarrow things here. Not too bad. Some race detail. Looks quite scratched up. Guessing that was trying to get out the plastic. Trying to keep it out of the light as well. It's not working too well. But yeah, that sprue's not too bad. Second sprue, where we have all fuselage. We'll go over quickly because we've already seen the fuselage. Inside, quite a bit there. That's all dials. So that's all the flight engineer stuff, and a few more bits just there. Same again, you get all the detail at the front and none of it at the back. So very odd. Propellers. Yep, look like propellers, and if you want to display them without the spinners on the front, you can do so. They look the part still. One seat. At least 3 pieces here, which you can guarantee you will snip off and no, you will never see them again. Damn carpet monster. Damn you. This for landing gear bay. Couple of the 303 machine guns. That's about as plain as you can make them. They got the shape. I can't see any detail on the barrels, unfortunately. The cooling vents or cooling holes. And the rest of that isn't too bad. Is that the rear wheel? That looks like the rear wheel. Potentially. Not weighted either. Okay, the rear wheel, I'll give it a little bit of slack because it's it always stays out on the back of the Lancaster. It's not retractable. So if you want to put this in the flying position, you would have to have a second rear wheel for flying and one for on the ground, weighted. So I'll let that one slide a little bit. P-tail tubes. This thing again. And one of those was that compass thing. I swear somebody told me what that is on another video. Apologies if you did. I forgot what it was. Yeah, not too bad on this one again. Right, one of the bagged sprues. And typically the first one I pick has 3 sprues in it. But it has the wings, which are very nice. Again, all the panel lines are there, all the recessed details are quite good. You got a bit so you can see where the outer engine would be. That's where the inner engine / landing bay would be. Very nice. I think that's what the rear machine gun or the front machine gun bit. That's the rear wing spar. I know it's not the rear wing, but that's what I'm referring to it as. Yeah, it's actually got some detail on it as well, which is very odd considering you're just not going to see it. I think on the underside. Alright, the shaft to actually spin up the bouncing bomb I'm not that impressed by that. I'm pretty certain it was a chain system. But that just looks like potentially 2 pulleys with a rope. I could be wrong, but unfortunately, the whole point of this plane, and it's the bouncing bomb, and I don't know, that bit just there kind of lets it down. I could be criticising it too much. There's the support arms to hold the bomb in place. The tail surfaces, very nice. And the upper wing. Again, very nice detail there. Covers for the like the turrets and stuff. Yeah, plain. So a couple more of the turret pieces, as well as the quad machine guns, which are yeah, whoop, losing it out of focus. Sorry, guys. Again, there's just not a lot of detail there. Okay, it's a 303 machine gun in 70-second scale. That's small. There's definitely smaller out there, don't get me wrong, but they just look like plain tubes on the back of boxes. Yeah, unfortunately. Inside, I'm guessing will be more here, which is the only thing that would be. There's a bit of the landing gear bay. Made by Revell. Is it dated at all? Very faint. You can make it out there. 2007. It's an 07 kit. That's not too bad though. But extra piece, looks like it's literally about to fall apart on me. I can put it together a little bit. So there we go. That's the I will go into the bomb bay. That's where the spinning bouncing bomb will go. And while I said it looks solid, it's hollow. Completely hollow. Almost like that's vac formed rather than injected. But a lot of flash and grub on the side here. Yeah, that needs work. The bomb bay, which you're not going to see. The rudders. Very nice again. Don't recognise that piece. Okay. Not too bad there. And the next piece, which has 2 more wings on it. I just noticed this on there. It's canvas and control surfaces. And again, you've got all the nice raised ribs as well, so that's quite nice. Quite subtle as well, so what's not standing out too much. Outer engines, or outer nacelles. The 2 pilot seats. Now, which one you're going to go for? It's for the bomb bay. That's the instrument panel there. Oh, we've got radios down here as well. Which, yeah, there's some detail. It's not too bad. Right, let's have a look at the instrument panel. On the plus side, with it being reflecting the light, you can actually see some of the detail better. So you can actually see all the dials, and also you can see where the throttle levers would be, just there in the middle there. There's no levers, but you've got the slots for them to go up and down in. Control column. Center wing spar. And the other wing. That'll go on top. There's a purpose for that thing. If it is what I think that is, that goes on the top of the fuselage where the machine gun is. And what this does, it stops the machine guns going too far down and shooting your own plane up. So yeah, quite a handy feature. Not so if you're trying to sabotage yourself, but very handy for make sure you don't shoot up your own plane. Inside, let's have a look. So some details on the bomb bay, which again you're not going to see. And that's literally it. There's something there beyond the landing gear bay as well, and the bomb bay. All the ejection pin marks. I just noticed that then. It's like all over the place. Especially if you choose this seat. Look at that. 3 just for that one seat. What was that for? That looks like 4 just for that one seat. Whereas that one was lucky and got away with none of it. Okay, that was that bag sprue. So the next bag sprue. That will be why it gives you 8 propellers. I was about to say, it's just like, wait a minute. Why we got propellers there when we already have propellers? And the reason being, I didn't notice that they are different on both sprues. Why, Revell? You're just asking for problems. So if you look at this sprue at the top and it'd be this sprue at the bottom, they are pointy, or pointy-ish propellers, whereas the other ones are quite rounded. So the bottom on this one and the top on this one. Something to watch out for. Why have you done that, Revell? Put the pointy ones on this sprue and the round ones on this sprue. Not mix them up. You know somebody is gonna just not read instructions, snip them all off, say this sprue, glue them on, and then realise probably through painting that he's done that mistake. By which point it's too late because you put the spinners on the front of it as well. Thanks, Revell. Okay, the rest of it. A couple more machine guns, more bits. I'm looking at this sprue and I just realised all these pieces look awfully familiar and they all look quite nice and everything. Then I spotted just here, there's a little snippet missing. If I flip him over, I'm just going to put him there. And I'll bring back this sprue. That is very sneaky, Revell. Very sneaky. And again, I'm just spotted this on the next sprue as well. So here's this one. And gonna have to push this up here. Here's this, the very first one we looked at. Now, apologies, I know of the process, but I don't do injection molding. But part of me would say, logic part of me would say, surely to save on materials, have the 2 fuselage sides on one sprue, and then this sprue you can then do twice as many of, because naturally you need 2 of these for every one of these. And the same with the other 2 we just looked at. Seems like a very odd and bizarre choice doing it that way round. Yeah. And considering the 2 sprues with the fuselage were loose, but the extra sprues, these 2, were bagged. Why then these pieces inferior to these ones? Now it makes more sense why we got 2 of each on the same sprue, but clear plastic time. Very clear plastic, very clear. Couple of different nose sections. That'll be the rear turret. You got the windows for the rear turret. That's nice. The top turret, that's not needed. Ah, there's the front bit. There's the front turret. All quite nice. The raised detail. Yeah, all the raised detail is just there, raised just high enough for you to catch with the paintbrush. Probably would recommend masks on this one. But yeah, not too bad. Yeah, there you go. Different side windows. The reason for the different, why this bit's separate from the main canopy, because the observer dome is larger on one variant than it is the other. Did not know that. Okay, nice clear plastic, you're going to see through that. Okay, let me bag everything back up and final thoughts. Final thoughts then. This looks like it's actually going to be quite an interesting model to build. Actually quite a nice bit of interior, mostly just for the cockpit. You ain't going to see much else down the middle, but so it's not too bad. A couple of things let it down. I say the chain drive on the bouncing bomb itself, I feel it could be better, but that's just my personal thoughts and opinions on it. It's I think I can't remember. I have made the FX one before, but that was half a lifespan ago now. I can't remember exactly what that one's like. But this one just, I don't know, it doesn't quite work for me. It doesn't click with me, unfortunately. The other thing I'm a bit hit and miss with is the engines. It's nice Revell gives you that option, but it's odd that it's only for the inner engines and not for the outer ones. I suppose something over than nothing, but the fact that they also have to be made, I suppose you don't have to paint them, but you have to make them and put them in so you can have the exhaust sticking out the sides, even though you're going to put the covers over them. Again, it just seems like, to me, it's the option's there, that's great, but maybe an option for like myself, where I may want the engines to be modelled outside the plane. Is there an option for that, rather than having to include them and then just glue them up? But other than that, it does look like it's going to be a nice kit. It's quite nicely detailed, and in the classic RAF night bomber scheme. So yeah, it's going to be a nice big, well, I say big project, but it's going to be a nice project to make this one. So yeah, please hit the like button if you enjoyed the video. Put a comment down below. Have you actually made one of these kits before, or the previous Airfix one, or even the new Airfix one actually? Again, is there any like traps or anything to look out for? And subscribe for more videos. Thanks, bye.